YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with my Week 7 NFL score prediction / picks against the spread for every single game. Do this every single Wednesday afternoon. If you're looking for more picks, other guys at the Goat House and myself made straight up picks in a video for Week 7 already. That video goes up every single week, every single Tuesday night, so check it out if you're looking for more perspectives on games, other perspectives. We got power rankings every single week. We're covering the trade deadline, somewhat recent playoff predictions, a recent mock draft. We got you covered. Full NFL coverage here. So join us, like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Follow us on Twitter. Link in the comments and description section for that. Other useful things as well. But that Twitter's got live NFL updates, keeping you guys involved with polls. You guys vote for players of the week, defensive player of the week, every single week. Picks on games you guys vote for. So a lot going on this Twitter. Check it out. Link down below. I changed my mind on this game, and changing my mind hasn't really gone well in the past, but because that happened, I'm always kind of afraid to switch my pick, and I would end up being right if I would have switched it a lot of times because it's usually injuries, and I'm going to switch here. I picked the Browns last night in the picks video, and Case Keenum going to start, and I don't really know if Case Keenum started really is what it looks like it did me in here, but Keenum's solid. Is he the same as what he was, what is that, 4 years ago on the Vikings? No, probably not. But he's a solid backup. And Baker didn't play so hot last week. And I don't know if it's that much of a difference. It just kind of thinking about this game and just seeing how many players are out for the Browns. And we talk about the Broncos have been disappointing lately. They looked a lot better against, the not so good teams, I guess, put that lightly. And what the Browns are about to put on the fields here, the Broncos should be the better team. They absolutely should be, and they were disappointing last week against the Raiders. They should be the better team in that game when the Raiders got a mess of a situation with John Gruden, stepping down or getting fired, whatever the hell it was. So and they were disappointing in that game, but maybe we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. It's tough to game plan against the Raiders, new coach. What are they going to throw at us? This game, the Broncos just got to go out there and take care of business. The Browns are going to be missing their quarterback. They're going to be missing their 2 star running backs. I think OBJ is about to be out. We'll see. Could be missing both their tackles left and right, Jedrick Wills and Jack Conklin again. Once again, they missed them last week as well. Conklin has been, both have been out. Looking at it defensively, they got some guys kind of beat up. That's the problem. The Browns should have most of their defense, and that could win the game. They've been a pretty damn good defense when they haven't played the high-powered offenses. The Broncos most certainly aren't the most high-powered offense. So the Browns defense could win this game alone. Myles Garrett could be a problem, but just so many guys out. This is on paper what they're about to put on the field on the offensive side of things here. It's not good, but they are at home on Thursday night. The Broncos should take care of business. We'll see if Judy's back. That could be pretty good. Broncos got to run the ball more. Javonte Williams, get him the ball more. Defensively, they're missing both their inside linebackers. Look out for other guys to possibly step up. Justin Sternad, Micah Kaiser. These guys could step up for sure. I don't think they'll miss their inside linebackers, Joel and A.J. Johnson, a whole lot. Obviously they're better with them, but this defense should take care of business. Von Miller talking about he's gonna murder whoever's in front of him. He's gonna kill whoever's in front of him. He's talking some smack already. But when Von Miller speaks, I kind of listen. So Keenum probably be under pressure this game. Can't escape it like Baker. I'm gonna take the Broncos. As you can tell, it's a toss-up game. But what I am confident about is this game should be pretty damn close. Broncos are underdogs by 2. I have them winning by 2. A little bit of an odd score, 19-17. I think a lot of field goals here, obviously by my score prediction there. So it's going to be an interesting one. I would feel a lot better if it was in Denver. That makes it interesting. But with the Browns missing that many key pieces, especially the 2 running backs, and that being their game, running the ball, it's tough to fully believe in them. We'll see if the Broncos get back on track here. Washington and Green Bay, I like Green Bay 30-17. I think it's a pretty good matchup for them. I think they'll have no problem, in the passing game and the running game. And that's kind of the Packers' offense in general every single week. They kind of can beat you with both, and I think they'll be able to beat Washington with both. Washington, surprisingly, the defense has struggled this year. It's continuing to struggle. Bakhtiari could be back, which could help protect Rodgers a bit more. I just don't see them slowing down the Packers offense. Washington's key would be to run the ball more, kind of control the clock. Gibson is dealing with a stress fracture in his shin. I think he'll play. We'll see. But doing that, running the ball, controlling the clock, is that enough against the Packers? Because they can score on you at any given time. Are they going to be able to keep up? And, maybe attacking the outsides as well, because the Packers are very thin at corner, but I don't really trust Washington that, consistently in a game where they have to do that. So there's not a whole lot of trust in Washington. I'm going to take the Packers in Green Bay, a good matchup for them, 30-17. They're favored by 9.5, which is a lot, but, looking at the matchup, they should be able to cover that. Next up, we got the Chiefs and the Titans. I got an absolute shootout. I'm picking the Titans here, and I'm surprised by this line. The last I saw was -5.5. You make all these graphics, and then the lines end up changing. I'm actually curious on this one because I'm waiting. It's one that I'm surprised by the line, waiting for it to change by the second here. It's still 5.5 as I'm looking at it right now, which is surprising. And they're both very good teams. Both could be high-powered offenses any given time. Patrick Mahomes should be able to dominate throwing the ball downfield here, and I guess that's why they're favored. The Titans are very thin at the cornerback position, and that helps the Chiefs, but what teams put out there in terms of the cornerback position, I don't really think makes or breaks the Chiefs. They're always going to have success in the passing game. It's just kind of themselves shooting themselves in the foot a bit. It doesn't really matter about which DBs are out there. Sure, it looks a little easier if weaker corners are out there, which Titans are beat up there, but I just don't want to overthink things here. It's in Tennessee. The Titans have the very best running back in football. They look like the most dominant player in football maybe right now in Derrick Henry. The Chiefs' defense is struggling. They cannot stop the run. They're dead last in stopping the run. They did hold Washington 13 last week. I'm just not buying the Chiefs stepped up on defense. Derrick Henry should be able to run wild against this team. The Chiefs are going to stack the box. The Bills, the best defense in football, stacked the box and still couldn't stop Derrick Henry. The Chiefs will stack the box. They still won't stop him. It'll open things up in the passing game for Ryan Tannehill and company, which was possible in the Bills game, and it kind of came to life in the second half. But again, it's a very good secondary of the Bills. It's another area where the Chiefs are struggling. The Titans should be able to do whatever they want offensively here. The Chiefs, pretty close to that too. They should be able to throw on them. Missing Edwards-Helaire could hurt them a little bit in a game like this. Titans defense, yeah, you can move the ball on them, but they clutch up in good moments. So we'll see if that's the case. They can make that one extra play in this game while Derrick Henry in this offense will control the game, and they'll control the clock, but I still think it'll be extremely high scoring because Derrick Henry's probably going to rip off some long runs, and I think the Chiefs will. There's going to be times where the Chiefs score maybe 3-4 plays, get down the field, and it's going to be back and forth. So I like the Titans. I don't want to overthink things here. They should be able to just run the ball just fine, and that will be a key to open up the passing game. So I do like the Titans in a shootout here, but it should be a fun game for sure. Probably going to feel like a Big 12 type game. I guess the Titans-Bills kind of felt like that last week as well. Next game, Falcons-Dolphins is a toss-up game. The Falcons are favored by 2.5 despite being away. I like them by 3. I just like the way they're playing recently, but we didn't see them last week because they're on the bye. They did play the Jets the week before, and everyone always goes, "Oh, they beat the Jets." The Jets got a pretty decent defense. They get pressure, they get interior pressure, which is a game changer, and that's what led to Matt Ryan struggling in the early weeks. And the Falcons kind of held it down in that game. Offensive line looked better. Matt Ryan looked better. No Calvin Ridley. They got Kyle Pitts going. Cordell Patterson's a problem. They got Mike Davis going. In the last couple of weeks, we saw the Falcons. They got their offense going, while the Dolphins' defense has been struggling. It's nowhere near last year's defense. Nowhere near. And I think the game plan for the Falcons, where's Cordell Patterson's a problem. We got to worry about where this guy's at, and that opens things up for their other big playmakers they have. So I'm going to trust the Falcons to keep rolling on offense. The Dolphins have been pretty poor on offense after the script. They're very good early game off the script, and then it really dies after that. It's hard to. I can see that I'm in any given time having success after the script, but it's almost like I have to predict that to happen now, that they're going to not play as well after the early portion of the game offensively. So. And the Falcons' defense is another thing that's been getting a little better, but two defenses that, for the most part, struggle. It's going to be about which offense makes that extra play and stays consistent throughout the game. I'm going to trust Matt Ryan with Calvin Ridley, with Kyle Pitts, with Cordero Patterson, with Mike Davis, which have all been improving the last couple times we've seen them. So I'm just going to trust them more. It being in Miami definitely makes it interesting. It's been a tough place to play for some teams because of the heat, but it's really no excuse. Falcons got to go get the job done. If it was in Atlanta, I'd feel a lot more comfortable there, but I'm going to pick the Falcons, for the reasons I explained there. But Dolphins, again, it wouldn't surprise me. It's the defense, really. They've struggled stopping the run, stopping the pass. I know they were missing both their star corners last week, but they struggled, and I can see them continue to struggle because they struggled, but at any given time, I can see them having a huge game, kind of like last year, Dolphins defense, creating turnovers, scoring on defense. I can see that happening at any given time. Could this be the week? It's tough to predict it right now. Next game, Jets Patriots, second time they've faced. I'm thinking a little closer this time around, but Patriots could have their way with them again. Last time they picked off Zach Wilson 4 times. I don't think he has that bad of a game. They had the bye. It was good they had the bye week because they could go over their own film, playing the Patriots. Patriots probably going to have a similar game plan because it worked so well last time against them. The Jets could definitely adjust and throw some things at them maybe that they're not expecting. At least I hope for the Jets' sake. And that's why then they can make it a little closer. Patriots, for the most part, seems like they play better against the better teams and struggle a little bit. Kind of play down to their opponents a little bit, except the last time they played the Jets. But at the same time, the Jets defense kind of gave the Patriots some problems because the Patriots offense was set in very good field position a lot of the game. The Jets defense was slowing them down. So I think definitely closer than last time, but I am pretty confident with the Patriots kind of keeping a lead with the Jets just kind of trying to play keep up. Happens to be exactly what the line is, how much I think the Patriots will win by. So it is a tough one. You can't really go off the last game. It could very well end up being similar. I don't think Wilson throws the 4 picks, which really decided that game. It really did. Panthers, Giants, a tough one. I got a very low-scoring game here, 17-13. I feel like I got to hammer the under on this game. I think it's just over 40 last I checked. What scares me a little bit on that, I still feel good about it. Obviously, look at my score. What scares me is I think there could be some defensive touchdowns in this game, which would result in that hitting the over. So it does scare me. I think, looking at both these quarterbacks struggling and kind of turn the ball over quite a bit, both these defenses that can create turnovers, could defenses score touchdowns or put their offenses in positions to score those touchdowns, inside the red zone right away. It's definitely very possible. But I'm going to go with the Panthers here in a defensive game. Really a game that can go either way. It's going to be about which defense plays better. I think they're both going to play good. It's also about which quarterback makes less mistakes. I can see Daniel Jones being more efficient, getting the ball downfield and with his accuracy, but I also see him turning the ball over more than Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's just, they got to go back to playing. They kind of did. They tried last week, small ball early. Darnold was missing some throws in that category, but played things safe in this game. I think the Panthers will probably take a safer approach. The Giants will probably try to make big plays here and there in this game. So we'll see what happens. But what I look at, the Giants both teams are very beat up. Key players out. Giants are really beat up right now. Andrew Thomas, a guy like that being out, I think he's been playing good. I think that's a big one in this game. I think the Panthers will have success with their edge rushers getting after Daniel Jones. But also, I think they'll go back to blitzing. They didn't blitz too often last week because the Vikings are a team you don't really want to blitz a whole lot on. But I think they go back to blitzing this week and throw Daniel Jones off. So I'm going to trust the Panthers defense a little bit more. It's going to be a battle of these quarterbacks. Which one plays better? Which one takes care of the ball better? Which one, makes better decisions here? So I think the Panthers 17-13. It's going to be a defensive game here. Bengals, Ravens. I have a 1-point game. 1-point squeaker of a game here. This is a game that can go either way. It's very tough to pick against the Ravens right now, the way they're playing. Lamar Jackson seems to have success against the Bengals defense, but this is a new Bengals defense here. They're stopping a run. That's why it's a tricky one to predict because the Bengals are stopping a run at a pretty high level right now. They really are. But stopping your typical run, well, not your typical, but even a very good running game is different than stopping Lamar Jackson in the running game, the Ravens running game. It's different. So, and why it's tough to predict is because it could be the same to the Bengals. It could be just another day, in the office stopping the run, or it could be just a whole different thing, that they're not used to. It's different than, stopping guys in between the tackles, and that could be a problem, So it's a very tough one to predict. I could see kind of a back and forth in this game where there's a stretch where there's some offense, some good offense, and it could be looking like a shootout in the making. But then I can see a stretch of a lot of defense and teams going 3 and out back and forth here. So It's a tough one. The Bengals do present some problems here. You know, the Ravens were just able to just purely game plan for the pass against the Chargers last week, and it kind of simplified things for them. And then they got up pretty early, which made it even easier. We know the Chargers aren't going to run. We can just play Herbert. We can play the pass, and it's just when we don't have to guess, it makes it a lot easier. Against the Bengals, you do have to go back to guessing a little bit, kind of normal defense. Defense is a big guessing game here because they can run the ball effectively, and they can throw the ball effectively, whether it's underneath or downfield. And having the number of receivers that they have, the Ravens got to cover. That's where I almost feel like picking the Bengals. That's why it's such a tough game, why I have a 1-point game, because looking at Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and even Auden Tate, Joe Mixon catching the ball and running the ball, Chris Evans catching the ball, Joe Burrow getting better and better. And he had real good success against the Jags, who run a similar style defense than the Ravens. The Ravens just a lot better because their players and a little better coach there. But Joe Burrow really good at picking up when the blitz is coming, understanding. So those things kind of make me want to pick the Bengals because can the Ravens account for all those receivers? That's kind of the main thing right there. This is a big game for Zach Taylor, the Bengals head coach and play caller. There's games where it looks good, like he had a really good game plan. There's games where he kind of hurts the team a little bit, and this is a game where it's big on him. I worry that he'll insist on the run too much in this game. You need to be able to run. You need to open up the pass by running, but I don't want him to insist on the run too much. I worry about it a little bit in this game. Ravens, hard to go against him. I think Lamar will have success on the ground. It's a little different for the Bengals in stopping your typical run. And Bengals a little thin at the cornerback position. I think Lamar's got to get going in the passing game, kind of like 2 weeks ago against the Colts. Got to have one of those types of games, maybe not that crazy, but so I'm going to go Ravens here at home. If it was in Cincinnati, I might be going Bengals. It's a real good game, so I got a very tight one here. Bengals underdogs by 6. It's tough because Lamar's been beating up the Bengals in the past here, but it's not the same Bengals. So I'm really looking, as you can tell, I'm really looking forward to that game. That's going to be a good one. Eagles, Raiders. I'm going to go Raiders 26-24, a tight one. Raiders both these teams are hard to predict. They're hard to predict because the Raiders are so inconsistent. They're kind of like every other at this point. I know they started off 3-0, and then dropped 2. But they go from playing the Bears to the Broncos. The Bears and the Broncos, they're the same types of teams. What type of defense they run, where their strengths are. They're going to run the ball first. I know the Bears are going to run the ball more. I guess that was the Broncos' problem. They're very similar style teams, and the Raiders look like two totally different teams against those two teams on back-to-back weeks. So they got dominated one week, and they dominated the next week. So I don't really know what to expect from the Raiders. I do think the key to beating the Raiders is pound the football, wear them out, and make that offense sit in the sideline. The Bears did it. The Bears did it extremely well. The Broncos started to run well, and they went away from it, so they made the mistake. The Eagles are very, very capable of doing that with Hurts' running ability, which we've seen, and Miles Sanders, who's a pretty solid running back. So if they go out there and they pound the football and get some read options out there, I think the Eagles will win the game if they do that enough. It's just impossible to trust them to do it enough. They haven't been running Miles Sanders a lot. It's a tough prediction because of that. Because to me, that's a fact. That's where the matchup needs. That's where the game plan needs to be for the Eagles. It's a fact. To me, in my mind, that's what it has to be. So I think one way I'm thinking. The Eagles got to see that, right? They have to see that, so they're going to go out there and run the ball. So I kind of want to pick the Eagles, but can I trust them to do that? And also, you're going to have to pass to win the game. It's not all about the running game. Hurts has been very inaccurate lately. He makes plays on the ground. He'll make a wild play here and there, but it's been very inaccurate. Accuracy's been off, so can I trust him fully as well? Can I trust Sirianni? Can I trust Hurts in the passing game? That's kind of what it comes down to here. In the Raiders, it felt like they clicked last week. Maybe they got some momentum. They're not too worried about the Gruden situation anymore. It's a possibility. I like that they got Kenyon Drake going. I love that. Josh Jacobs is running back 1, no question about that. But using both those guys, could throw off the Eagles a little bit, getting the ball downfield. Because the Eagles defense has been struggling, a little bit lately. I think you get the ball downfield. So I'm going to take the Raiders in this one. But I tell you what, the Eagles can win by pounding the football. This is very, very much a toss-up game. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be close, but if the Eagles just abandon the run completely, it's not going to be close. Raiders are going to beat them up pretty good. So That's another one I'm looking forward to watch because I just got some questions here. Are the Raiders, going to be consistent for once here now, or are the Eagles going to start running the ball? A lot of questions in this game. Lions, Rams. The Rams are favored by a whopping 15. I don't think they quite cover that, but a win by 11 here. I'll take the Rams at home. Stafford probably wants to beat up his old team, but Goff I'm sure does as well. And maybe that they're Campbell ripping them a little bit, so maybe it's a strategy. Light a fire from underneath Jared Goff a little bit here. I haven't been in love with the Rams defense. I do like the different disguises they give, but they've been a little, I'm not trying to rip on them a little bit, but they've been a little, I guess the best way to put it, not as physical as I'm used to. Not even close, actually. Whether it's, the first guy, wrapping up and tackling, everyone flying to the ball. And, they're not missing tackles like crazy or anything like that. Cornerbacks pressing more, being physical with receivers at the line. I see a little bit less of that this year. So maybe that's part of the problem. So the Lions could maybe get a little bit going on offense using those backs, getting the ball out in space. A lot of injuries, though, and just not enough weapons against the receiver position. Rams will have success on offense for sure. So that'll be enough for them to get the job done, win 31-20 here. That'd be something if the Lions beat Stafford, though. Goff beats the Rams. That'd be wild. This one I'm pretty confident about, but it's so hard to stay undefeated. It's so hard to stay undefeated. It's the NFL. Any given Sunday, anybody can beat anybody. So it'd be pretty surprising if the Cardinals lost to the Texans, but it's possible. It's possible, but I just don't see it happening. Cardinals will do enough offensively. Their defense is pretty good in tight situations, short yardage, red zone. So that's just the difference here. The Cardinals have all the playmakers. Kyler Murray's playing like an MVP. It's just they should be able to get pressure on Davis Mills. Maybe create some turnovers again. The Cardinals will probably get up pretty big early where they can kind of just focus on the clock then, so they probably don't go. 30 is pretty crazy for the NFL, but maybe not too crazy. But I got a 30-16 win for the Cardinals. Those last two games are ones we all expect to know the winner, but who knows? You never know. Bears and Bucks. I got 27-17 Bucks. It's a tough matchup for the Bears offense. Very tough matchup for the Bears offense because they run the ball first and they run the ball a lot. They rely on the run game working to kind of for them to work. And in the Buccaneers, you can't really run the ball against. So what's the Bears game plan going to be? Is it going to be, all right, we're not going to be able to run the ball, a lot against the Bucs. So let's come out, passing. Is it still we got to run the ball because that's our game. So what is it going to be? It's a weird one because the matchup, because like I just said, it makes it tough for the Bears. But there's a scenario I play out in my head that I can see the Bears scoring, around that 27 points because you just throw the Bucs off because you watch film. Everybody's going off film right now. You watch the film. The Bears just run the football. It's what they do, But what if they just come out and just roll Fields out and they throw because they know they have to, and you can throw on the Buccaneers. You definitely can, and the Bears can kind of play surprise there, and score. I just don't fully trust them, I guess, with their game plan and their play calling. And at the same time, you can throw on the Bucs. You have to at the same time, you have to get the ball out very quick because their pass rush is so good. Fields has not been doing a good job getting the ball out quick, but he can turn that around. It's a big game for Fields. It's really a big game for Fields. So they're gonna have to throw more. He's gonna have to get the ball out quick or get outside the pocket quicker, which he definitely can. That's what he should be doing more. So just hard to trust the Bears fully in this one. I'm going to take the Bucs. I know the Bears defense presented some problems from Tom Brady last year. So, that could present itself again here and there. But I trust the Bucs at home here. I'm going to go 27-17 them. But they are favored by a lot. They're favored by 12.5. I don't know. It's a tricky one because, like I said, we're the matchup definitely says the Bears aren't going to score a lot of points. But if they come out and kind of play element of surprise there and just air the ball out, get the ball out quick, it can be a little shocking how much the points the Bears could put up. I just don't trust them there. Next, Colts and 49ers is going to be a real good game on Sunday night. I'm going to take the Niners 23-21. I think being at home in prime time and coming off the bye is kind of the key here. I guess forget the being home. I think coming off the bye is big time for them. They're able to game plan for this game. I will say this. We still don't know who's starting at quarterback. Because Lance and Garoppolo are hurt. If both are out, I'm picking the Colts. If no Garoppolo or Lance, I am picking the Colts. So keep that in mind. I'm switching my pick there. But I think it'll be Garoppolo. We'll see. I think they do enough here. I think it's more of a defensive game. The Colts been relying on Jonathan Taylor, really getting going, and he's been good. I don't think he has that crazy of a game again. I think that kind of opened things up for Wentz. I think it's going to be on Wentz. Wentz has to kind of make those plays in the crucial moments. We'll see if he can do it. But two real good defenses here. I think the Niners kind of make that extra play defensively. And both teams are going to pound the football here. So I'll trust Shanahan's game plan off the bye a little more. I am a Frank Reich guy, though. I know some people have been ripping him here and there, recently. But I like both these coaching staffs. I like their game plans. I'm going to trust Shanahan at home prime time and their defense a little more here off the bye week. They get a little healthier, after the bye week as well. So that definitely helps. So I'll go Niners 23-21. That should be definitely a good game there. Saints, Seahawks. Saints are favored by 5. Back-to-back primetime games being underdogs by 5 for the Seahawks. This time they're home, and this time it's Monday night against the Saints. I'm gonna take the Saints by 7 here. I just like the matchup for them. It's tough to figure out what the tough matchup is for the Saints offense. It's really, I don't know if there is a certain matchup that's good or bad for the Saints offense. It's kind of like it's on the Saints. It really isn't what type. Of course, the better defense, a very good defense would be tougher, but it's more of, do they hurt themselves? Do they help themselves? That's kind of what I feel about the Saints offense. But in terms of their defense, I like the way the matchup against Seahawks offense, especially without Russell Wilson. If Russell Wilson was playing this game, I'd be leaning Seahawks there. And Geno Smith was fine last week minus the fumble, but the Seahawks really got things going by running, surprisingly, in the second half and throwing the Steelers off. I don't think they'll be that effective against the Saints defense running the football. So Geno's going to have to make plays. He may be able to here and there. I just think I trust the Saints defense stopping a run, and I trust the Saints to make that extra explosive play. But, again, we talk about all the time, what type of offense are the Saints going to play in this game? Because at any given time, they can be extremely explosive and have those big plays and score the big points, or they can turn the ball over. Jameis, he hasn't been he turned the ball over here and there, but he hasn't been crazy turnover prone or anything near that. But he could at any given time be like that. We've seen them shut down and get completely conservative against the Giants, and that kind of blew a comeback, and that's against a struggling Daniel Jones and that offense. So I'm sure Geno Smith and company could do that with those receivers. So it's tough to figure out what the Saints will do offensively, but I expect them to make that extra play. And kind of keep a lead in this game. And I expect their defense to show up and not allow the Seahawks to make those big plays. So I'm going to take the Saints on Monday night, 24-7 team. A lot of good games this week, though, so I'm really excited about these. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. We're back every Wednesday with this video. We got straight-up picks with the boys of the Goat House on every Tuesday. Power rankings every Tuesday as well. A lot of content here. Trade deadline approaching. We have you covered. We already have a video up on that. More to come. We have a recent mock draft. So check it all out and join us for the upcoming content. Like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Be much appreciated. Check out our Twitter. That'll be huge. Link in the comments for that. It's going to do it for this one, though. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.